Okay.
See. And we are live. Awesome.
Hello.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Great. So you must be using your phone, huh?
Mm,
Oh, you got a wiggly dog.
yes.
Anyway, I'm going to introduce my guest here today is Rachael. Rachael Yudt. She was the scholarship winner from, what was that? July of this past summer, I think, right? And we
Yes.
started really in August.
Mhm.
Rachel and I connected early on with our boys in sports. I am
Mhm.
again wearing my
Yay.
I'm gonna try to make this relatively short so that everybody can get game ready, right? So yeah, tell me a little bit about what you experienced through coaching. Actually, why don't we start with what surprised you the most? And first off, what were your results?
So far I've lost 20 pounds
Awesome.
and um I don't know measurements because I didn't take them, but I went down 1 pant size, 2 dress sizes, and 2 shirt sizes.
That's awesome.
Yes.
That's awesome.
And I
So,
have to buy new bras too. But that's okay.
hey, we'll take it, right? And
Right.
what is your goal moving forward?
I originally started because I had gone to I wasn't feeling well, and I started I think prior, but I can't remember, but I had some medical issues, and one was that I thought I was having a gallbladder attack.
Oh, I
Um and I was pretty sick. They didn't find anything, and incidentally, they found some hemangiomas on my liver, which is fairly normal, but I also was developing GERD, and my A1C was high and my cholesterol was high. And I felt like crap. So I had been following you, I think, for a little bit on for a while on Facebook, but then you had the scholarship, and then I applied for the scholarship and got the scholarship and started to change my eating habits.
So, what would you say was your biggest aha moment when you first started this process and the journey with me?
How much crap I was eating.
And what do you think was the catalyst for that awareness?
What was the catalyst for the awareness?
Mhm.
Journaling. It's either how much crap I was eating or how much I wasn't eating, because I wasn't eating a lot, but what I was eating wasn't nutrient, and it was like mostly carbs. Gosh, there were so many aha moments. My sleep, my water intake, everything, but I was eating a lot of crap.
Mm-hmm. So tell me a little bit about what changed as far as your energy is concerned.
Everything. So when you were sending out the questionnaires every Sunday, Monday, in the beginning, I was depressed, I was tired, I had no libido, my sleeping wasn't good, my cognition wasn't good. I just was fog. I was walking around in fog all the time. Pretty It's a really significant change. I'm sleeping better. I think the other thing that was significant was my joint pain. I think I talked about that last night.
Yeah, you did. How about your cravings?
So aha moment for cravings is that I know when I'm really stressed, I crave sugar
Mm-hmm.
and heavy carbs, like pastas, like breads, like candy, ice cream. I crave all of those carbs. And when I started to eat better, those cravings subsided when I started to increase my protein. And I just feel better when I increase my protein. And the thing that I love about your program is it's not this keto based program. It's not eat all protein and fat and no carbs. And that's what I did years ago. And I lost the weight and I felt good, but eating a piece of fruit was taboo.
Oh, so
And
you did do keto before.
and I thought, well, why would eating a piece of fruit be bad for you? But what ended up happening is when I started to incorporate those things again, it was just guns a blazing, carbs, carbs, carbs. The thing that I appreciate about this is it's everything and it's balanced for what makes you feel better. So you're really paying attention to all of our macros and how we feel and what the scale's doing all at the same time.
Yeah, it's definitely a puzzle.
Yeah.
And every woman, not even every woman, I've worked with men too, everybody is so different. So I may have mentioned this last night on our call, but I had a client come in who had just seen a nutritionist, and she said the nutritionist, when her husband, herself, and her 20-something-year-old son walked away from their meeting, basically they were all told the same thing. And just like I always say, when it comes to working out, like, women are not small men. We need to do different things. Our nutrition and everything else actually is very different because biologically, physiologically, we are very different. So our needs are going to be different and how we are coached should be different. And that's kind of what I always say. People will say to me all the time, like, what should my macros be? And my answer is, I don't know. I don't know until, we start seeing where you are and playing around with things here and there and seeing how your body responds in those things, in all your biofeedback markers, but also your weight response as well. So, and I know people get very frustrated if in the first month they don't lose like 10 pounds. And it's like, no, you've done that before in your life and you weren't able to maintain that. So I like a nice, slow, steady pace where you're losing a half a pound to a pound a week.
Yeah.
And really learning how your body responds to gradual changes. So, and changing so many things at one time is tricky too, because then you can't really figure out, okay, what did this do? So it's almost like a giant human experiment to a degree.
Yeah.
So what would you say was the one thing you found that you struggled with, but you were able to overcome?
Well, I can tell you what I struggled with, and what it's kind of like a roller coaster. So I struggled with it, then I got okay with it, and now it's wintertime, and that's water intake. Summer's easy, winter's not easy. So being more creative in my water intake. Yep. Tea. Exactly. Herbal tea. So today I drank 2 huge mugs of herbal tea at my desk while the water sat there and stared at me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't drink, I only drink a little bit of caffeinated coffee now in the morning. It's decaf. because of the GERD and
Okay.
what caffeine does to my indigestion.
Mhm.
I just try to be more creative. I add things to my water. It's going to be challenging, and I am already aware of that for winter time. So tea is going to be the thing for
Yeah,
me.
for sure.
Other challenges, other challenges were that first few weeks of tracking, and when I'm really stressed out, tracking, tracking. Shoot, I forgot to track. Or say I put in all of my food for the day and then it doesn't go as planned because I planned on going to the salad bar at the cafeteria and there wasn't what I thought there was going to be in the salad bar. So now I have to substitute. And weighing, like remembering to weigh before but it got easier. So that first 3 weeks was really a challenge, and then it got easier. And
Yeah.
I realized, I learned how to use the scale,
Hmm.
and I learned how to, I forget what it is when you zero it out and then add more.
Yeah, tear it.
And that was, yeah, it was amazing. I
Yeah.
didn't realize you could do that.
Yeah. So definitely one of the things I learned when I was doing this process was how much I was mindlessly eating.
Mhm.
So I always would keep things out on my kitchen island, like a big fruit bowl, or in the summer, I would go to the farm and I'd get the little grape tomatoes and I would just put them in a bowl. And I know you're thinking big deal, right? But for some people, that's a bowl full of M&Ms or Halloween candy sitting on the island. And
Mhm.
you know, you don't realize how often you're going past that and grabbing food. And remember back in the early days, when I started doing more personal training, we would call them bites, licks, and tastes. So, you know, you can get kind of complacent in your tracking and just like, oh, I'm not going to worry about including that barbecue sauce. Well, things like that have a lot of calories in them. So if you go through your day and you're a big condiment person, that all adds up. Same with the mindless snacking, eating. You're just used to grabbing and
Mhm.
not really paying attention. And you don't really know what that food is comprised of. So, and it does add up, especially if you're not active, right? If you're
Yep.
burning the calories, it's not as severe, but if you're very, very sedentary and you're adding those extra calories in, it's going to have an effect on your scale weight. So
Yep.
that's definitely something that most people are pretty surprised at their eating habits. And usually what I'll say when people are at a plateau, you know, are you tracking everything? And are you tracking everything accurately? Or are you letting things slip and slide here and there? Because those types of things do tend to be more caloric in nature. And oh, here's my girl. And they add up calorie wise. So,
Well, and that actually happened today with me, where I for breakfast I put in mango and watermelon and good cottage cheese,
mhm,
right? And that's a great breakfast because you're getting your protein and your carbs, your macros, and I love being able to eat fruit.
mhm,
But then I added in my excuse me, my lunch. And I was like, oh, I can't have that Buddha bowl today because I already ate enough grams of sugar for the day. I already ate enough carbs for the day.
exactly.
If I added that in and dinner. So I had to really, I liked the meetings that we had and you talked about really playing with, when you put things in and playing with the numbers, you really have to pay attention. And it really does work. I mean, if you have, if I'm able to eat 90 grams of carbohydrates and 140 grams of proteins, it's really quite a bit of food.
It is a lot of food. And actually, you know that, you know, you always have your calories to fall back on. So if you do decide to go out, or, you know, you're going to Penn State for the weekend, if you come back and you're a pound or two heavier, it's probably not so much the quantity of food that you ate, but it's probably, you know, the couple beers you might have had, or the weird foods that you don't typically eat that you have at a tailgate versus the foods that you're eating when you're in control of your own environment. So I know you kind of would do the weekend warrior bounce here and there, but you would always recover a day or two later. So I think the other big thing that I love when people's, you know, have that aha moment, it's like, oh, well, you know, it's kind of good to get on the scale every day, because I'm seeing now that even if I'm staying within my calorie boundary, if I'm eating pizza that has gluten and dairy and nightshades in it, like I know automatically tomorrow my weight's going to be up 2 pounds. And I'm not going to freak out because of that, because I know if I get back to my normal pattern, I'll be back on track. So I think that's another great eye-opening moment that people have, and I love to see that as well. So
And just the way you feel, your body just, I didn't realize how much gluten had an effect on me and how I felt, and dairy too. Like I don't eat dairy anymore. I eat feta cheese or goat cheese, but it's not a lot.
Right.
And but ice cream, regular cheese, I don't eat any of that anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. Dairy is one of those things. And I think too, along with gluten, when you get away from it and you start feeling really good without it, and then you add it back in, you tend to suffer the consequences, so to speak.
Exactly.
Sometimes it's worth it, sometimes it's not. So, you know,
Have not found a time when it was worth it yet.
occasionally getting a nice big fat, like creamy, real ice cream cone, that to me on a maybe several times a year basis is worth it.
Okay.
But that's for me. So, all right. So what would you say to someone that is hesitant and saying, yes, I'm gonna do this? What would you say?
So I've actually talked to people about it, and I mean, all of them are women, menopausal women. So I can't really say for anybody else, but for me, the biggest thing for me was my health and my pain. I was in physical pain. My joints hurt. Like if I would go for a walk, my feet would hurt, my knees would hurt. And I said yesterday, my shoulder hurt so badly. And yes, it had to do with me doing exercises for my shoulder and really paying attention to how I lifted or what I lifted or in what way I lifted. But I think it had a lot to do with inflammation too.
Absolutely.
I just, if you are tired of feeling badly and you want to take care of your health, and it isn't just about me, it's about my kids, because I'm the only parent they have left. So I wanted to make sure that I was here and healthy, and that I could be with them and not feel pain.
Absolutely.
So I'm sorry.
Yeah. When I read your so now we're both going. But when I read your application, and many, I had this response because I've been, not in your situation, but a similar one, where I just,
Yeah.
I didn't know what to do. I felt so crappy. And I think about myself like, okay, I'm a fitness professional. I know what to do. And I still couldn't get a handle on it. And I just needed that person that I knew was in my corner and kind of handheld me through. Um, and I remember when I signed up, I'm like, well, crap, I need to lose 15 pounds. I'm just going to go all in. It's going to be a year-long process. And it was scary making that commitment and that investment. But when it was all said and done, um, and I wound up staying on for a year and a half and took a little break, and I'm back with him again. It's just having that person in your corner to hold your hand and run with you and show you the way, and somebody that cares and is pumping you up, um is such a huge part of the process, and somebody that's holding you accountable to what you're saying you want to do, because we can all, and not like we let ourselves off the hook, but life gets in the way,
Yes, it
like,
does.
just for you, you've got this move now, and we've talked about how to manage it. Now is not the time for you to be concerned about dropping weight. It's, let's maintain what we're doing. And once the move is over and you've got all this stress behind you, then let's put the pedal to the metal and step on the gas again. But you know especially as women, we take on so much. And I was in a similar position as you. We talked about this. You're alone. I mean, it's up to you.
Yep.
Nobody's there for you.
Mm-mm.
So, you
Yeah.
gotta pull up your bootstraps, and you just gotta do what you need to do. And look, like, here's the thing. You were able to do this. You work full time. You're running your kids, not right now, but you had other responsibilities aside from yourself, and
Yeah.
you made it work. You made it
Yeah.
happen. So I'm super proud of you.
Yeah. Me too. Me too.
Yeah. Amazing. Amazing.
I think for somebody who's on the cusp of it, the pain, the inflammation and the pain goes away, and your sleep improves. You feel human. You feel so much better. And you start to feel empowered because you're making choices that allow you to feel better. And when you make a choice, just like I talked about the Halloween candy,
Mhm.
it was an educated choice. It
Right.
was, okay, so I know if I eat this candy, I'm going to have a surge in my blood sugar. But if I pair it with protein,
I love it.
I'm going to be better and I won't have that intense surge. But interestingly, after I talked about it yesterday and we got off the call, I thought about this, and that surge is exactly what I was chasing before I started the program. And it's like an addiction
Absolutely.
because that's what made me feel better underneath all of the stuff that I was going through. And coincidentally, or not coincidentally, um, um, ironically, it made me feel better in that moment, but long term, it was destroying my body because of all the inflammation.
Absolutely.
and I was in more pain. So it doesn't make sense to me to continue to do that anymore. And I'm not saying that I don't crave it, because when I'm in stressful situations, the first thing I want to do is go get a pack of Sour Patch Kids. But then I know what it's going to feel like afterwards.
And also, don't you feel like you have a better handle of knowing the fact that you're feeling that, and then how to manage those cravings?
Well, I think the first thing, and being a therapist too, it's like, oh, the first thing I need to ask myself is, why am I craving that? And I know I'm under a lot of stress right now. I know that. And every day it's another thing that I have to do or address or take care of. But I can actually say to myself, this is temporary. This isn't going to stay this way.
Absolutely.
And it's stressful right now. Go for a walk. Turn on some mindless TV. Go take a bath. Go take a shower. Play with the dog. Pet the dog. Breathe with the dog. Because the alternative of getting a pack of Sour Patch Kids and just binging on them, or getting like a big pack of them, is going to spike your blood sugar. You're going to feel like crap. Your heart rate's going to go up.
Well, and usually once you start, it's like
you just keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. So that awareness is huge, because a lot of times, you're not even thinking about what you're doing, but because you're tracking, and you're going to grab that, it's going to need to go into someplace. Oh, Daisy. So yeah, it's another reason to not. But that sugar addiction is a big thing, and certainly affects so many of our decisions, and how we sleep, how we think, how our joints feel. We don't really realize all of the impact that sugar in your diet makes and has on you. The other thing, I would think that you were starting to feel is the fact that the one thing you can control is, to a degree, your health. And that is by moving, by making better food choices. And I think that kind of alleviates stress in a sense. So, control what you can control, and the things that are out of control feel a little less impactful. So that was definitely one of the things that I learned through the process as well. Because I had to pack up a house, and I decided to move. So
yeah, I know. Across the country.
Crazy. So, well, I don't want to keep you. I know it's closing in on Philly's game time here pretty soon. So thanks for joining me. Thanks so much for being coachable. And
I will be back to lose the 20 other pounds. I definitely know what I need to do to keep it where I'm at, and I will be back.
Yeah.
So if anybody hears that, like, I lost the 20 and I have 20 more to lose. So I lost the 20 and I will be back for 20 more.
Awesome. And then the end game is, let's get you to your 20 pounds or your total of 40, right? Then once you're at your weight that you want, your goal weight, then we'll start to increase your food. So
yay. No.
more carbs for you. It's usually the way that works. So
and it's all carbs. I mean, if you want to eat candy and you don't have a problem with it, you can just incorporate it into your meal plan. That's the thing.
Absolutely. 100.
I cannot because
And you have to know yourself and what your trigger foods are. If you, or find a replacement. So, there's nothing wrong with some chocolate at night before you go to bed. I actually have a client that does that every night. She's got her tea, she's got her chocolate, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Nope.
So, you just got to build it in.
Yeah.
That's what I love about this too. There's nothing off limits unless you decide that it's going to take you to another level.
Yeah. And it's your choice. It's your choice.
It's your choice. And the key thing is to not be frustrated with your choices, right?
Yeah. Because you're making the choice. And we talked about that yesterday too.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, anyway, well, I will let you go. Thank you so much for joining me, and we'll keep in touch and, keep doing all that you're doing, and just reach out when you need to, the rescue.
Okay.
And then as soon as you move, we'll talk about, ramping that up again and getting you to where you want to be mentally, physically, and then keeping you there while we give you more food. Yay!
Yay.
You get a reverse diet after you diet to where you want to be. Then
Exactly.
we reverse you, which is fun. So, all right. Well, you have a good night. Go Phillies.
Go Phillies.
Yeah, I will talk to you soon.
All right. Take care.
All right. Take care. Thanks, Rachel.
Bye.
Bye.